You can watch HUGH MAGEE walk away, but don't expect him to look back. It's his motto, never look back.
What you're doing, once you're made the commitment, you're in. You don't sit back and spend 5 seconds wondering whether you did the right thing. You're there. It's like jumping over Niagara Falls. You don't say, Jesus, I can't even swim.
It's a swashbuckling attitude that pushed him into more adventures than seemed possible for one human being. His career was equal parts timing, opportunity, and gumption.
I worked as a salesman introducing fiberglass, which was an almost unknown product. All of a sudden there was a market for fiberglass that didn't exist much before.
And all of a sudden there was a business to own, a business owner looking to retire, a business owner looking for a successor.
The distributor out here in 1960 was ill and old, and he wanted to quit, so he offered to finance me to set me up as the regional distributor.
HUGH put his best asset to work, himself. He knocked on doors, built networks, and created a market that spanned Western Canada and the Western U.S.
That was the good news. The bad news was even a company the size of U.S. Rubber, they didn't have the capacity to supply us. So here I've done everything and to develop a business, a concept, and convert all these guys, and then learned we wouldn't have the capacity.
Ouch. Finding another supplier wasn't a possibility. None existed. That left only one option: design, build, and run a fiberglass processing plant.
So all of a sudden we're one of the biggest regional suppliers of fiberglass-based materials, and we exploded in volume, and we were probably the most successful polyester resin plant in the world as far as we're concerned.
So no, he did not sit back on his laurels and watch the money roll in. Instead, he turned his sights to somewhere over the edge of the horizon and dove headlong into the greatest adventure and the greatest challenge of his life: Great West Steel.
We had 23 companies around the world.
23 companies that on the surface looked like a great deal, right up until March the 12th, 1976, the day he acquired control of the company.
We had long days, and then we had some major problems in the Middle East.
That's an understatement.
Toronto Dominion Bank, they had loaned my predecessor millions of dollars, and it was huge.
This is where HUGH's motto of never looking back kicked in. Looking back, walking away from responsibilities are not an option. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, of course it did.
Jack Poole phoned me up 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, what are you calling me at 4 o'clock in the morning for? He said, well, I just thought I'd give you the good news or the bad news. What do you want? I said, both. He said, well, it's the same thing. The interest rates just went up this morning 2%. And we had $45 million of the debt. That's $9 million of cash that we had to pay just for the interest and go nowhere. So we had some challenging times.
Extremely challenging. Not only was he on the hook for millions of dollars, the livelihoods of thousands of people were hanging in the balance. Now, fast forward a couple of years. He stabilized the company, and then HUGH merged his successful fiberglass company into Great West Steel to ease the financial burden. In other words, he was all in. It's important to point out that HUGH's story of success, disaster, and revival could not have happened without the assistance of Merv Schweitzer, his chief financial officer.
The big thing is that we never gave up. We had one unique ability. We went into the office every day with a smile on our face, and very few of our people knew we were in trouble. There was no sulking, there was no whining. We had to lead these people through a mess without them knowing they were in a mess.
He's a leader who sets the course. He trusts people to do their jobs. He doesn't get too involved in the details, but he does interfere, or get involved, I should say, when the situation requires it.
HUGH MAGEE also believes he has a responsibility to the community. Similar to his full body contact commitment to his business, he throws himself into big community projects, big projects that make a difference.
I remember Christy Clark says they're going to spend $500 million renovating the hospital. And that's putting good money after bad money. So I said, Hughie, we should build a new hospital. And he said, well, I don't have any money.
Looking in the rearview mirror, we can all see Hugh came to the rescue.
The very simple origins of procuring that land was the foundation had no money. We had no permission from the government. Land is only going to come up once in a lifetime, and this was our opportunity. Hugh gave invaluable advice to it. Now today we're a much richer community for being able to have the ability to even build a new hospital.
Hugh MAGEE, your relentless drive and determination created opportunities for employees, a wide range of entrepreneurs who created companies that employed even more people, and through it all, you never wavered. You built and we benefited.